Modesty podcast. This is November 16th, podcast number 3 in the year of 2023. Hi, I'm Stefan Modesty, and I'm going to do a little multi-part series called based on my diversity. And I'm going to start with talking about being a biracial male. Growing up in Canada, in the suburbs of Toronto, and that's what my discussion is going to be. I was born to a white mother who was born in Germany and emigrated to Canada, Toronto specifically, after World War II, and that would have been the early 50s. And my father, who's black, was born in Toronto, and as far as I know and what I've been told, his parents are from the United States, from the South. Kansas is the area. Kansas City, Missouri is the area that is we've traced back at least where my father's family side is from, and probably maybe slaves, or who knows, ended up in Canada, Toronto to be specific. So those are my parents. I, as a young kid, up to maybe age 14, 15, I just thought being mixed was normal. I mean, it is normal, but I mean, I didn't have any issues, I don't think I had any problems until I got a little bit older, and then I know I had a bit of I guess you'd call an identity crisis, or issues. When I was 14, I wanted to be white. I wish I was white, because I thought it would just be easier to be white. I just, being exposed to, a lot of racism in terms of what I was exposed to in the media, television, film, etc. I know the black folks have been hard done by, at least in my interpretation, and I thought, geez, it'd just be easier to be white. So and I think because my mother was white, and that's who raised me, I wasn't really raised by my father. He took off. He left my life when I was about 5, so my father didn't really be a role model in any way, or any influence in me, to me. So being raised by my mother and closer to her side of the family, I guess you could say I was raised white. I don't know if you want to define it that way, but culturally I was exposed to that. And my mother being German, and my grandparents, spent a lot of time with my grandparents, I did get a lot of influence and I guess you'd say pickup culture from that part of my mother's side of the family, being German and European. Now I was raised or did spend a lot of time with my cousins on my father's side of the family who were brown like me. They were also mixed race. Oh yeah, I gotta clear that word, mixed race. Apparently that's not politically correct anymore, so I'm supposed to use the word biracial. And I remember the first time somebody corrected me and said to me, you should use the word biracial. I was like, man, it sounds like I'm gay and mixed or something. But anyways, fine, I'll use that word. Hope I don't offend anybody. Being biracial, when I got to about 14, that's when I wish I was white. And then shortly after that, it was the early 80s, and hip-hop just took right off, like Run DMC and a lot of, just to mention one of the stars, bands, rap groups, and the whole culture. It was so cool. And then I said, I want to be black, and then I tried really hard to be black and, associate with black people, have black friends. And I had friends from all kinds. I've had, one of my dearest best friends forever is white, I guess you could say. I don't see color. I really don't. But I remember there was a time when I wanted to be black, or, I went from wanting to be white, and then I wanted to be black. And then somehow, I think around 17, 18-ish, I just went, you know what, I'm both. and I'm going to identify as both. Um, I know I've heard in the past in places like America is very, very influential. When you're growing up as a Canadian, you look at America and it's this massive country with so much culture and so much influence that you sort of be influenced, by that. So hearing all that, I don't hear it so much anymore, but I did hear it, I guess, in the 90s and early 2000s, was that, if you're mixed or biracial, brown, you're categorized as black. And I can't do that, or I don't do that because of this. My impression is this, and this is, I've been told by my darker friends and colleagues that I truly believe the darker you are, the harder you have it, for the most part. That may not be everywhere in the world, but I definitely know it's in a lot of the world that I see. So that being said, I think a darker person will have some more challenges, I think, than somebody who's light skinned. I think light skin is just more accepted, because when I've met some people who are like, I wouldn't call them racist, but maybe a little bit naive or ignorant to it, would say, ask me, oh, where are you from? Are you from India? Or are you Guyanese? Or where are you from? I said, well, I'm half black, half white, or I'm mixed race, biracial. They're like, oh, you're not really all black, right? It's kind of like, well, if I was black, they would put me in a different category than if I was mixed, or it's kind of like you're not one of those. And that's what I picked up from some bigoted or ignorant people, that I find racist people hilarious in some ways, because I've had people ask me if I'm Italian, and then sort of say derogatory things towards Italians. I've heard people say derogatory things towards Indians in front of me, thinking that coming across somebody, and they don't straight up ask you where you're from or whatever. They just sort of start a conversation with you, and they kind of trying to get you to, they're trying to pigeonhole you into an angle to sort of discuss and say what your background is, just so because they're guessing. I'm one of these people that are really hard to I don't have an obvious ethnicity, I guess, if that makes sense. Some people mixed race look mixed race. Some people mixed race look more black. Some mixed race people look very white or very light. They could be Latin, they could be Italian, they could be Greek, they could be Middle Eastern. I more or less fall into one of those categories. I've had Indian people ask me if I'm Indian. I've had Greek people. I've had Italian people. It depends how I look, or how I have my beard or mustache, or if I'm shaving clean, I have it in my hair, if it's long, short, whatever, I can look different. But not to dwell on that. So as a teen, it was tough, and up into my teens. And then I realized, like I said, 17, 18, I did realize, I said, I'm both, and I'm going to identify as both. And I still say that to this day, because I cannot go and identify as black, because there's no way that my experience is the same as a black person's experience. And I can't say that I'm white, because there's no way that I have I can't identify as white, because I if I walked into a room full of white people, and let's say they were racist, I'm not going to get in that room. So I don't know if I'm going off topic with this here, or the angle of this, but what I'm saying is I cannot identify as white. I don't understand this identify as thing. I'm both. And I have the skin tone of both. And I have some attributes, obviously, that from both sides. So I don't want to get into the DNA of this, but that's my angle on it. And it's an interesting way to look at things for me, in terms of ethnicity and stuff, because being mixed, I was always naturally curious about other people that I think are mixed or could be mixed. It was not about putting somebody in a category, but it's kind of like guessing. Like, I wonder if that person is that. I wonder if they're this. I wonder if they're that. And I've come across a few people that are like mixed, like German and black, and it was a unique, interesting conversation. I mean, I've known people that are. I knew a guy that's Hungarian, Serbian and black. I know another guy that's Chinese and black. I had a girlfriend that was Chinese Jamaican. I've met people, very interesting, mixes, and it's quite interesting. So it's always been a curiosity. So probably being a little more curious than average into that, and just did a lot of digging around in that and aspects of it, and it's definitely interesting. But I could also say that in terms of discrimination and all that, I didn't really find too much of that in the 70s and 80s. I mean, there was a few moments that I would say, yeah, somebody picked on me because of my color or something like that, but I don't think I have any real scars or issues related to that, not major anyway. I could safely say that. I don't know about, maybe there are opportunities that I missed because of my ethnicity, and I wasn't aware of it. I mean, how could I even think of that? I don't know if I was discriminated against for jobs or things later on in my life when I got into the working world. I don't know, or maybe I got opportunities because of my, I don't know. It's hard to categorize that. I don't study and have tons of statistics on this kind of thing, so it's really hard to I'm not going to be I'm not a specialist in this realm. I'm just making observations of going through life and such forth. So I'll leave it at that for now, as that part of my discussion. I will continue more in the future with more specifics. I just wanted to touch lightly on this and make this the first part of my podcast on series called My Diversity. Have a good day.